about Daniel, and for the past 2 or 3 Sundays they've been talking about Daniel and teaching about Daniel. Brother Brian spoke of it briefly this morning. He was talking about many has wondered where that fourth one was. They brought Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego out of the fire. Said they saw 4 in the fire, but when they came out there was 3. Said many scratched their head and done research. What in the world happened? Where did that 4th one go? Praise God. Brian said he's still in the fire. Praise the Lord. I'm glad that he's still there. I'm glad that he's ever present no matter where we're at. I want to tell you something this morning as Andy sparked my memory and just about got on my thought this morning. We're living in a time, listen, if you do research, you don't have to wonder. It's right at our fingertips. You can drive up and down the road and you can see Waste Management runs through Ashford on Wednesday morning. I'm telling you what, there's more garbage out now than there's ever been in our lifetime. I know that our population has grown and it's grown, but listen, it's slowed down. It's slowed down to what it was, the growth of our population. We have more garbage throughout the world and more things thrown away than there ever has been since the beginning of time. Listen to me for just a minute. We have more garbage, folks, there's more things in the garbage than they ever have in the past before. Even though population has slowed down, listen, garbage collection and landfills is at an all-time rise. Why? Because there's so many things that people's throwing away. I'm telling you what, as Jeremiah saw and Jeremiah seen there and the Lord revealed him, thank God, don't throw it away. There's people today, I'm telling you, suicide rate is at an all-time high. Folks is convinced, boys, ain't no fixing, ain't no turning it around. There's no good. It's ready for the garbage dump. But Jesus Christ came to seek and to save that which was lost. He came to mend broken heart and turn lives around. Folks says there's no hope, but there's hope to it by Jesus Christ. Of all the treasures that we may possess, I'm telling you what, God ain't got a garbage dump. You know what I'm talking about? God ain't got a landfill, but He's got a potter's wheel where He can make Johnny Rollins, He can make men and women, boys and girls brand new. Amen. That's right. Tracy, what was that thing you told me you dropped many years ago that you took up to Jimmy's daddy? A what? A fuel house. He dropped it and broke it. And Mr. Craig, some of you know Jimmy's daddy. I didn't know him that well. But Jimmy's told me a lot of stories. Jimmy told me several times, being at a young age, Mr. Craig didn't have a babysitter. Said he'd take, correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy, he'd take Jimmy in the mines as an infant and set him up on a crib while he worked, watching his boy. But Mr. Craig, I've heard people talking about Mr. Craig was good at welding. He'd weld a spring, and most of you knows that's just about impossible. But Tracy had dropped this fuel housing and broke it. And he thought it was all gone. He took it up to Mr. Craig many years ago. Mr. Craig sat down and he began to braze on that thing. And it was just as strong as it ever was. Tracy was telling me about it. And a while back he gave it to Tracy, or give it to Jimmy, and Jimmy treasures it. I'm telling you what, that's the best testimony in the world, is us showing the world, listen, I've not always been perfect. I've not always been pure. I've not always been good. My life was wretched and broken and tore out to pieces. And the world wanted to send me to the landfill. Thank God, Waste Management was coming down the road. But Jesus Christ come and rescued me. Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen. He could do the same thing for anybody today. Yes. You think about that. I thought about Daniel so much. Daniel and Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego. The way I studied the Bible, they was all in just about the same age group. They was all about the same age. You think of that. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Daniel. And as Andy told you this morning, Daniel being 15 years old. And we've probably heard more stories, more Bible books written about Daniel and the faith of Daniel and the strength and the backbone of Daniel. And many times folks has portrayed, I've even seen pictures of Daniel being an old man, long beard. Daniel being a 15-year-old boy, made up his mind. Don't you imagine somewhere in his background, in his 14 years, 15 years minus, there was some praying people that surrounded him. Somebody shined the light. Andy, I can't help believe that he didn't have some people around him that loved the Lord, that inspired him. And when he went before, when he went before that prince, when he stood there and he said, listen, the king's chosen you, and he set you aside. Daniel said, now wait a minute. He said, I've proven what I've got. Church, a lot of folks is trying to run around on what some denomination has told them. Some's trying to live a Christian life because what the Sunday school teacher, man, we can't live a victorious life till this word's been applied to our heart life, and we stand on the word, and we've experienced the word for ourselves. Yeah. Amen. As I said, we're living in a time, a day and time, that folks said, just throw it away. Just throw it away. I grew up in a time I never will forget. Right after Tammy and I was married, I'd never seen it in all my life. One morning, I don't know what day of the week it was, Bob and David got me in the truck. We took off, and I said, where are we going? They said, we're going to Boone County Kmart. Boone County Kmart. I thought, man, I didn't know there's a Kmart in Boone County. We went up top of Lynn's Creek and turned down towards Racine, went up towards Seth. Started up a holler up there. I said, where's this? They said, this is Printer Road. I said, there's a Kmart up here? He said, yeah. Kept going up Printer, got to the top of the mountain, pulled over at a big garbage dump. Said, here we are. I said, just as I figured. And they walked around for 2 or 3 hours looking for things that other people threw away. I'm telling you what, folks has found treasures in garbage dumps. Jesus Christ has too. And if you feel like the world's put you in a garbage dump this morning, thank God if you open your eyes, lift your head above all the debris, there's somebody looking for a treasure this morning, and you're the treasure. As I said, Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost. The world's throwing it away and throwing people away. But Jesus is saying, come unto me, all ye that are laboring, heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Are you ready to be rescued? Are you ready to be rescued? Jeremiah wept. Daniel prayed. Life wasn't easy. We was talking yesterday, man. We want to see it today. We seen something happen this week that's been in a year's making. We didn't understand it, but God had a plan. God had a plan. God's got a plan for you this morning if you'll just be obedient to Him. You can lay in that garbage dump if you want to and be an outcast by the world. And you'll perish there. But if you'll come to Jesus, Tony, amen, am I telling the truth? If you'll come to Jesus, He won't discard you and look you over and say, hopeless. But Andy, He'll do as Jeremiah said. He'll take you. Andy, you've been on the potter's wheel. Did you feel like you was unfixable and you was worthless and you was ready for the landfill? But you found out different, didn't you? Thank God, still got you on the wheel. Are you ready this morning? Are you ready this morning? If you come here and say that's hopeless and helpless, and I'm ready for the landfill, or I'm already in the landfill, cry out. There's somebody looking for a treasure this morning, and you can be the treasure. Stand if you would. He say that he have seen too many times. Some may not hear it, and others may fear it, and many just doubt that it's real. Listen now. Oh, but I'm just a sample, just an earthly, fleshly example of an empty. Why don't you vessel? Why don't you come? Preacher, I've tried it before. Try it again. I've tried with a sincere heart. Was so broken till these words were spoken. Let body and soul both be healed. Since He put it together, there's no kind of weather, no sir, that can cause me to stray from His will. Too many times I've climbed up life's mountain. Lord, too many times I faced this cruel world of sin. Whenever I thirsted, His love was my fountain. Satan came home enough to turn back on Him. Now, Lord, I know You've spoken to hearts this morning, and I know, Lord, that You've moved in hearts. As Andy said, You're a God of more than second chances.
Yes.
God, how many knees have we tore out of our pants? How many bruises, Lord, have we put but where we fail? But You've picked us up. You've dusted us off, Lord, and You've given us hope. I would ask this morning, Lord, that You would help folks to realize that they can reach You with a broken heart and a contrite spirit. Help folks to realize that there's a prayer that You hear, and that's a sincere prayer that comes from the heart, and a serious prayer. God, give somebody courage right now. I believe there's enough saints in this house this morning. I say saints, I'm calling them the saints because they know, Lord, that You're able, because You've done the same work in their life. That we can lift folks up this morning and help them, Lord, get to You. Help folks to be obedient, be mindful of Your call as we tarry for a moment. If folks would just say, Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary. Tried and true. Can you say that, church? Sing it.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Amen. Amen. Sometimes I feel like we get too wise for God, Toby, or too smart for God. Several times throughout the year when Bo was with us, we'd asked Bo to pray over the food. And Bo didn't have a whole lot of education. He knew enough to know that he needed Jesus. And he made it pretty well in life. But when Bo would ask a blessing over the food, Bo would say, Lord, bless the hands that repaired this food, instead of prepared the food. And for a long time, I kind of thought it was a little bit humorous, but he was sincere. But thank God, without God repairing us and putting His work in our life, we're of no benefit. Yeah. Thank the Lord. All right. Well,